do you want to realize the transition from the monetary system with gold or silver to the transition to economic resource-based
Can you please wait below? We have a mic here. Where's the question?
I have a mic up here also.
Not coming through.
One sec.
No.
Hallo?
After you answer, please pass the mic back to me, okay?
Also, ich hoffe, euch hat es gefallen. Jeder hat alles verstanden, auch wenn es nicht in Deutsch komplett war. Alles in Ordnung soweit. Jetzt beginnt eine Frage- und Antwort-Session. Mato, der Mann, der Große mit der Brille, wird mir helfen. Exakt. Es wäre schön, wenn die Frage, die an den Fresco jetzt gestellt wird, möglichst knapp formuliert ist. Also eine sehr direkte Frage, wie auch immer sie aussieht, aber so, dass man sie einfach beantworten kann. Also kein Statement. Das wäre ganz nett.
Okay.
Getränke sind immer noch draußen, auch immer noch alles da. Alle Leute vom Movement, je nachdem, ich meine, ihr seid ja alle vom Movement, jeder, der aktiv mithelfen möchte, dass wir müssen quasi das Essen beim Eine Welthaus dort mit rein transportieren. Wir brauchen noch 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Leute, die einfach mit anpacken möchten und dem Mao, dem Mann da oben, helfen, einfach dort mal ein paar Kisten hin und her zu tragen. Hier geht es nur um Ressourcen und wenn die geteilt werden, dann ist die Welt in Ordnung. Danke euch und nochmal danke an jeden Einzelnen.
Okay, I think the question was transition, right? Between a monetary system and a resource-based economy. Was that right? Did everybody hear that?
Yep.
Okay. A lot of people ask us that, but Jacques and I have absolutely no power. We have no money. If we did, we could make a transition possible. But what really has to happen is you have to go out, learn about this system if you identify with it, and talk to others. If enough people know about it, then they might advocate it and it might happen. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. The system is falling apart all over. We've been going all over the world and there's a lot of trouble out there. Giving money to the banks and the stockbrokers and the people who caused the problems in the first place is not going to solve it. So what's happening, there's a lot of scenarios why the system is falling apart. Even if the Venus Project didn't come about, the sheer weight of automation displacing people, industries have to put in automation in order to compete with those industries who are having cheap labor across the oceans, you know, taking the labor from your country and bringing it abroad where it's cheaper. Automation is coming in and enabling them to compete with those countries who outsource. So the more industries automate, more people will be out of a job. And so you'll get to a point where there will not be enough people who have purchasing power to buy the goods and services turned out. That's the end of this system. So if people don't know of an alternative direction to work towards, then we're going to have more fascistic, more military, because that's what's organized in our society. Did you have anything more to add?
Yeah, other questions. I think she did a great job of answering that.
Yeah, I think here's another question. Also, while Jacques and Roxanne are answering the question, next people can certainly raise their hands. Okay? Perfect, then I'll come around. Here's the next question.
I I'd like to ask you why there's a split between this Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement, because every time I try to talk with someone about the Venus Project, the people say, yeah, I know these are these Zeitgeist people who believe in this conspiracy theories and so on, and I think you do no good with going with this Zeitgeist movement. I don't understand it, why there's Zeitgeist, why there's Venus, yeah.
Well, you were asking why there's the Zeitgeist movement and the Venus Project, two different organizations, essentially?
No, I'm asking you why are you going with the Zeitgeist? Why don't you say that I don't understand why it's mixed, why there is this Venus Project, why there is this Zeitgeist movement, why don't you just say, let's make the Venus Project? Because I had the experience that the people from Zeitgeist were talking about aliens and any...
I think you got the question, right, Roxanne?
Well, I agree with you to a degree. The Zeitgeist movement, it's getting very confusing in a way. The Venus Project was established when Peter Joseph did Zeitgeist, the first movie. And he did a great job in talking about a lot of different things in that. And when he did Zeitgeist, it was the most watched documentary in the history of the internet. Over 50 million people watched it. So, but a lot of people came to him and said, well, what do we do? Where do we go? And he said, I don't know. So I sent him Jacques' book, The Best That Money Can't Buy. And he read it and he came out immediately and started filming. And then a year later, he would come out every couple months and Jacques would talk to him for hours and he'd have questions. And he'd learn about this direction and he presented it in Zeitgeist's addendum. So since he had so many people watch it and he had that name, and we already had the Venus Project going for over 35 years, we've been working on that together, that he felt it would be advantageous to keep that name. But it is getting mixed up. The first film, he's gone beyond, he says he's gone beyond what people call conspiracy theories. It's not relevant to where we want to go. There's a lot of things in society that they pulled the wool over your heads on how things work. They don't talk about the banking systems. People know nothing. Like Jacques says, if you keep them ignorant, if you don't teach the slaves how to read, then you can control how they think. And that's the same thing like today. So we have the separate names, but the Zeitgeist movement is the activist arm of the Venus Project. And Peter, whenever he speaks, he knows where his ideas came from for this direction, because he had no answers as to where to go. And he always compliments Jacques and the Venus Project, saying that this direction is from there. But he's added a lot to it as well, giving examples, and the next film is going to back up this system as well. Yeah. But even I think sometimes we really should have one name. It's working against itself in some ways. Because a lot of people coming into Zeitgeist's addendum, sometimes they don't know where these ideas came from. Any other questions?
There's sometimes critics about that the direction in which the Venus Project could go is that it could become a technocracy, which is a way of keeping people submissive and dependent on technology, and also that is a way also to centralize power, which actually it could be counterproductive because it could rouse.
He's afraid of people. They're saying that the Venus Project can become a technate, but he's not using it as technocracy. He's using the word, or it can be centralized government.
Okay. Here's how the Venus Project works. It doesn't work like that. That's an interpretation. The Venus Project does a study first of how much arable land we have in a given area, how much water. That determines how many people that land can support, not Fresco or any technician. Technicians are assigned jobs like building bridges, roadways, cities, but they do not dictate public policy. Is that clear? The machine, we want to ultimately move toward a machine government only because machines can measure plant growth, keep a tab on delivery of goods and services, but they do not control people. I repeat that. All the machines do is produce goods and services. They do not control people. So we do a survey of what the Earth's carrying capacity is. That means vegetation, food, climate, water, everything. Once we do a survey, we know the Earth can support 3 billion people. Now, if you exceed that by 6 billion people, you're going to have starvation and territorial disputes. So we live in accordance with the carrying capacity of the Earth. But if you come up with a new way of growing food faster without exhausting the soil, more people will come in. But we don't live according to Fresco's philosophy. We live according to natural law, not man-made laws. Man-made laws are artificial. They make laws to try to control behavior, like say no to drugs. That doesn't do anything. Only laws that count are natural law. If you don't get enough sleep and nutritious food, you get sick. All man-made laws are bullshit.
In terms of the fear of centralization, I can only talk about the United States. All of the states want to dictate what they do because they feel that if things were centralized, in Florida, they don't know what they're doing in California, but they're not up to date technically. If the automation and the industries and the technology had their tentacles, say, into the soil, they would make the appropriate decisions. They could give you the water table, the nutrients. You don't have to have a guy out there. They can tell you the amount of water, the nutrients, whatever it needs. So you can know what's going on in California when you're in Florida. If you're connected all over the world or the United States, it would be global. If you're technically connected all over the world, you will know what's happening and you can make more appropriate decisions from a central location. But there would be redundancy all over, so you don't depend on one computer. It's not like that.
When you connect the computers to industry, agriculture, transportation, you'll have a holistic picture. If you don't do that, right now computers are connected with people. They should be connected with the environment, freight trains, cars, delivery, access. When computers are connected to everything, when you build a dam, you ask what is good about the dam. You say, well, it generates electric power, it stores a lot of water. But it cuts out the tributaries, the little streams. And the little streams operate the beavers, which build dams, and that changes the water table. But if you build a dam without allowing fish to climb up to the spawning grounds, you deprive the production of fish. So you just don't build dams for electric power. You build dams to maintain dynamic equilibrium in nature. If you just build a dam for generating power, you hurt yourself. So computers can tell us that if you build a dam here, 5 years from now, the water table is going to change 30 miles away. The trees are going to die. So you have to do dual studies, the benefits of a project and the negative aspects of a project. And you have to weigh them. So when the engineers design a ship, and you got 500 people on the ship, that determines how much water, how much food you have to buy. Not some captain who says, I think I'll have 30 pounds of peaches. That wouldn't work. You have to base your food and water on what people use. So the Venus Project has no opinions. What do you think? What do you think? What do you know? So in the Venus Project, no one makes decisions. Here's how they move things. They take samples of the soil from all over America, bring it to central agriculture. There they analyze the soil, and by the contents of the soil, they say it's best to grow beets for 4 years, then rotate to sugarcane. But that's not an opinion, that's a finding. So in the future, no one makes an opinion about anything. They put it to test. Do you understand what I'm saying? When the government said to mad scientists, can you put a man on the moon? They said, we don't know. What do you mean you don't know? They said, we don't know what a man can stand. So we have to put him in a centrifuge and whirl him around. If he honks out at 9 Gs, we can't take off at 20 Gs. Everybody would die. That's what they mean by I don't know. When you get in a spaceship, if you give a guy a glass of water, if you pull the glass away fast,